You will sleep better than you have ever slept. You've never been this relaxed. Are you ready to change your life? I'm Rusty Diamond, certified hypnotist. You don't need to leave your house. You can stay in your bed. You can stay in your favorite chair. You just need a computer or your phone. You can get a hold of me. Stay at home. I'll make your life better.
Hypnosisisgreat.com.
It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker. It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.
Yo, man. Boom, it's Rusty. What's up, everyone? It is Monday morning at fucking 7 a.m., 6 a.m. for my guests. So hell yeah to them for being here. Welcome to the Public Access Podcast, the podcast here on the Rusty Diamond Podcast Network. I'm just going to get right into it because fuck it. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I appreciate everyone for being here, and I'm going to bring on my special guests right here, right now. And my special guests right here and right now are, there we go, we have Nate Andrews and we have Chris Thomas AKA HBQ.
What's up?
What is up? What is that in that shirt in your background there, Nate?
That is one of my first shirts that somebody printed on the pictures from PMPW.
Oh shit, okay.
It says I heart Nate Andrews. and then the medal is actually something that one of them's from high school, and then the other one, you may not be able to see it. Actually, this one here was a medal that Cameron Starr had made me. Quiz might actually have one of those too, but
do you have?
Who, me?
So
No.
Yeah,
good times
you
there.
Get a medal?
No, I don't believe I do. See, I'm gonna go ahead and start this off like this. You having an unnatural allegiance to losers is unlike you. Sorry, I was listening to the thing again for the 600th time, and that's just gonna be the quote from 2024. It's just gonna be used over and over
again. So wait, what's the medal say? What's it say on that thing?
Let me see. Let me grab it real quick.
Oh man, okay. So
all right. Sorry about that. So it actually is a little picture of Grappling, says wrestling. It was back from 2008. Now
2008.
This is where yeah, kayfabe, right? This is where we get real serious and sentimental. It says Nate the Great, champion and friend, 2008. How about that?
Champion before friend.
Oh yeah, you know. What quiz? What do you have to say for that?
Nothing. No, I remember mine does have one. On the back it just says quiz friend.
Not champion.
No. I was just like, yeah, you were not champion. You were born to lose, kid.
not quite ready for the championship.
Not quite ready for prime time.
Yeah. Here you go, friend. What does it just, you know, he had space, so it was just friend centered. It wasn't like you could scratch something in like good friend or something and before that, or
No, I was like one of the last ones to like come in from the training school and all that. Like I was like in like that last group, and it was like, yeah, I guess you get put up for friend. Wrestler, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Had to carry you how many years?
So then Nate was
Out
there
there.
first,
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir.
by a long shot or by like years or something, or was Nate already great, the great by the time that you showed up?
That was
I'm trying to
what you
remember.
yeah, you were Nate the Grape with the trophy and all that.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I was doing the most valuable wrestler thing. I'd like to say gimmick, but I don't even really think I had a gimmick surrounded around it just yet.
What was the trophy? Was it of two like wrestlers like on there, or was it doing the?
No, it was actually an old basketball trophy, and I just took the basketball guy. So like it was a cup on top. That's how it worked out. It was a cup on top. I mean, it was probably I don't know. I mean, it was a tall trophy too. It was probably about 2 feet tall,
Oh
and
Jesus!
yeah, it had a cup on the top, but the middle on the bottom, so on the bottom of the trophy, on the middle between the bars that went up, was a basketball guy, and I just took that off,
Oh,
and
okay,
then
so you,
yeah, and then I went down to a local trophy place and had a plate made that said Nate the Great or most valuable wrestler, all bold, and then under it Nate the Great, and I just ran with that.
like here's my old trophy, man. Like make it fucking yeah, make it fucking great.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that that's wrestling, man. That's wrestling.
So I mean, I assume a 2 foot trophy wasn't a participation trophy like we were getting if I mean I think we were kind of the first, like I don't know, at some point we started like getting participation trophies for whatever, and um I know I had a good amount of participation trophies that I just got because I showed up. So
Yeah,
you
yeah. Well, I don't know that they were doing them back then, but and I'm sure that was made on commentary at times. I'm sure. I do know one time because that was back in the WC days, and I
okay.
remember somebody on like the commentators just play off like, how did he actually get that? And then like the heel would just either like, I don't know, but I know he deserves it, or they would just go off this total tangent. I think one of them, I can't remember who it was. Maybe it was George, but somebody had mentioned uh, uh, that I won like a 64-man tournament in Puerto Rico or something like that for it, which was great.
That became the first intercontinental champion of great wrestler of
That
because it was not like a specific thing, just became great wrestler is what the trophy signified, that you were just now great. And
right.
I mean that works out all right. And so who got to smash it?
Man, I don't even know. No, somebody had to have
It had to have
because
happened.
I
Like
don't still have it.
yeah, there's no
Yeah.
reason that you'd have a 2 foot trophy and be able to walk out with that thing.
Right. Man, I can't. You th- you think it would be a memorable time because I actually had fun with that one, but after about year 10, I just started forgetting everything. Man, I don't
Yeah.
remember who did, and I couldn't tell you when or what time, like promotion wise and stuff. I feel like it might have been like NRW or something like that when it happened. And I wouldn't doubt if it was quiz anyway.
Nah, they wouldn't have given me that type of responsibility. It's like, yeah,
But
you
I mean, you got to walk around with that thing though too. You got to bring that fucking. You got to bring a 2 foot trophy along with you everywhere. So I mean, like that would I would be
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
okay, who's ready to smash this thing? I'd be getting to about show 2 or 3, and
yeah,
I'm like, okay, who's taking this shit, man? Like, who's ready to fucking break
yeah.
it?
And you're begging for that promo and story to happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly don't remember. I couldn't tell you if I was tired of it yet at the time, but that was still also just within what, like 2 years. So I was still just gung ho, happy and going. At that time, I probably could have, when I first started and stuff, you would have told me, you think you'll reach a point where you want somebody to smash it? I've been like, no, but obviously it's inevitable. That's the sort of thing that has to happen in wrestling. And if not, then it's the guy retires with it or something, but
Right.
uh
Puts
but
it up
I
on the
couldn't tell.
mantle.
I don't remember.
I don't remember if like somebody smashed it or you smashed it over somebody.
That could have been it too. It might have been that I did that, in which case that might have been you.
Don't remember.
Who knows?
Yeah. Probably right. Don't remember.
I mean, other than the late, definitely great James Freeman, I think Quiz is the one I've had the most matches with and stuff, so I wouldn't doubt it. So
When was the last time you two guys had a match?
like against each other, I would say Quiz just had one 2 nights ago at Surefire Wrestling here. So
Oh yeah. So yeah,
but
you didn't get to have a run in and smash a trophy over him for old times' sake.
no, I know, right? Yeah. As far as us competing, shoot, I don't remember Quiz. When was the last time we wrestled?
Last time we wrestled, I want to say before, it was like at least a couple shows before you moved down to Texas, like at least 2 or 3.
Yeah. Because when I was back there in Oregon, my feud was with Hess, and that was the last like 6 months or so. Oh, you know what? Yeah, was it your retirement match thing you did? Was that our last match?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Dang. All right. Well, at least we went out with a banger for each other's last match, just against each other for a while.
I was like, it's funny because my mom was actually in attendance that night. She's like, oh, I thought you actually got through since this time. And actually, it's like, oh, you're gonna be done with this.
And that
I'm like,
worked out really well. So
yeah.
how's retirement going?
Well, you know what? It is going so well. It's just like every other wrestler, where I am now stuck in this position ever since the last show in that car ride a couple days ago. And like, I'm like, oh, I'm sore.
Yeah, I mean, it's usually not the show, or it's usually that car ride back from that show where it's like, oh shit, this is okay. Now I'm okay. I haven't moved for an hour. Like, oh, okay. Now I think I know where I got hit. I'm pretty sure. Oh, okay, well, yeah, that's the spot. That's where I got hit. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or maybe you don't know.
That realization of,
Oh,
oh, I haven't been with Sharon in 5 years. Oh, I don't like that feeling.
yeah, getting hit with the chair after a while. I mean, that's something you don't have the buildup of it anymore because uh I don't know. I don't know. That's something you really.
It's like, you're done with this. I thought you were smarter than this.
But yeah, here we are. In retirement, man. You beat up someone beat up a retired guy, and
Yeah. Yeah, that's extra heat. No, 2 people beat up a retired person. It was like they just basically did.
Wow. Who booked that?
Look, I'm about 2 years after retirement.
like, oh, okay.
And all of a sudden,
Let's have 2 people. Yeah, 2 people beat up a retired guy. Uh-oh. We're getting a little choppy here. A little choppy.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. With who?
Well, I think with Quiz, you got a little choppy.
oh,
Choppy. Oh, okay.
Oh,
yeah,
a
it
little
might.
choppy.
Sorry, it might be me for a little bit. There's going to be some thunderstorms and stuff coming in Houston, good old Houston right now. So
Oh shit.
apologies. But it'll be
Okay.
73, so
Oh.
that'll be special.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
that'll jack with the internet.
Yep.
Do you guys get tornadoes down there? You guys ever see tornadoes? Is that something?
Uh,
Or-
I did actually see one not too long ago, but the weird thing was it was actually just in the air and it never touched ground. But thank goodness, because where I'm at is we're like in this like bowl, basically. The way that everything sits,
Oh
the
shit.
little town I'm in just kind of sits in a bowl. So if it like ever, so it's a plus in the sense of like a lot of there's been tornadoes all the way around us at times, and there's been bad ones kind of even just about 100 miles out, and that have kind of done some towns around us. But being in the bowl, it kind of like essentially like goes over us or just it gets pushed around us. But if it ever dropped in here, then we're screwed. And so it's one or the other kind of thing. But we had one that was just up in the air. It did some damage, took like sheeting off of the house next door and stuff like that. It was bad. It just never touched ground, thank goodness. But it was enough. It cost them like it was crazy. It was like the stuff you see in a movie because it's just suddenly it was dark. You just see this huge like clouds spinning, and then they set off the sirens. So those are going off. It was kind of intense, yeah. And that was maybe 6 months ago. So that would have been the only time I've ever really come across that.
And then they had the monthly tests then. Does that ever get you? You got that monthly test?
They
Like
do
every
have those.
first
No,
Wednesday or Monday?
they do have those, but you're used to that. Yeah, I think it's Monday, but you get
Yeah.
used to that. But when it's like a Thursday, and then all of a sudden there's just like tornado in the sky, and then they start going off. Yeah, that's no kayfabe right there.
Hop in the bathtub or something. Or
That's legit.
yeah.
Yeah, it was wild. There was that moment where you're just standing outside and you're like, until like dust and wind and stuff's like in your eyes, and then you see stuff just flying kind of by you. Like you're like, okay, I'm gonna step inside.
Yeah. I'm gonna go inside, close the door for a minute. I don't
Yeah, yeah.
need to have some because I don't know. See, it wouldn't be something like if you're standing out there and something hits you, it's not gonna be something like normal. It's gonna be like, someone's I don't know, like whatever, someone's lawn gnome or something gets like thrown up and like,
Oh
hits
yeah.
you or
I was
something,
just gonna say, yeah. I'd be super kicked by a long gnome or something like that. Yeah,
right,
that's what would
right.
happen.
Oh,
Without any tune up or anything. It was,
Just like, okay, now we're just gonna claim that on the insurance. All right.
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
like, I
yeah,
lost my
yeah,
lawn gnome. Like, found
yeah.
your
And
lawn gnome.
that would be the kicker too. Just like I could just be bleeding and stuff. Be like, yeah, never gigged once in wrestling, but just per usual, always the hard way.
So lucky you didn't have to do that.
But now
Yeah,
that it's
never
actually-
once.
Never once.
No,
I gotta go.
no,
I gotta
never
come out
once.
of-
It's
out
kind
of
of something.
retirement.
How'd you
I
pull
gotta
that
come out of
off?
retirement and get them to get busted open.
I think so.
I know, right? We'll see.
Have,
I still got a little bit of time left.
have you retired, Nate?
I mean, not officially, and I mean at the end of the day, like, have I, has there been a career out of it? So do you really retire? But given the sense of it, like, am I done completely? Not 100%. I don't think you're ever done. I think, but full time, yeah. That's why I started Surefire Wrestling. Just because I don't know how Quiz is still doing it. There's Drexel. Oh my! I just watched his match with Amira from Prestige last night. Good gravy. And then like CJ still going. Like I don't know how. I guess we're just all different. My body just kind of caught up to me quicker. I guess. It just I hurt so much more after matches. And then like on Saturday, not so bad because it was here in my hometown, but traveling 4 or 5 hours and just feeling like it hits me right away now. There's no like waiting until Monday, Tuesday. That's when I just start. Like if you would have asked me 20 years ago when I first started that I thought I'd ever reach a point where I'm like, man, I'm going to take a little time off between shows, I would have thought you're crazy. But it's just, like the drive home and being sore, if like I had a bus or something where somebody's driving me and I could sleep, that might make a little bit of a difference. Or if I had somebody that drove me where I could just kind of sleep, uh, something like that maybe would make the difference. But when you got to drive 4 or 5 hours and stuff and hurting, it's just so much harder now. And it's just, but the business itself, I'll never be done with. So that's why I started Surefire Wrestling, but so I'll take bookings. I don't necessarily search them out anymore. I'll take them, but I just, at this point, I want like solid matches. I wouldn't mind doing a story if it's the right thing is there, but I definitely can't be done. I was just talking to Sully, Jason Sullivan about this not too long ago. I can't believe in this whole time I got to thinking, and it took me because he was in a feud with Jay Davis that's here, which is going to be, keep an eye out on him. He's going to be fantastic guy. I guarantee you in years to come he'll be signed. I would be surprised if he never was. But they had a dog collar thing before Jason that was like one of his last feuds before he went to Paraguay. And I realized I was like, I have never had a dog collar match. Ever. Never had a dog collar match. And that's so old school, you know what I mean? I think I've even had a coal miner's glove match. I've had, and stuff like that. I believe when I was feuding with Hess, I think we did that or somebody. I'm pretty sure. If not, then that's going to have to be done too. You know what I mean? Like, because that's just an oldie too. But I've done the strap matches. I've done a bull rope match. A lot of them are covered in that like 72-hour gimmick we did. But I've never done a dog collar match, and I've never done, and this one may not be able to. It might be able to. I'm just gonna have to put a lot of effort in beforehand. But a 1 hour Iron Man match, I've never done. I've done plenty of 30, but I've never done a 1 hour. So those two matches, I feel like until I do those, then I'm not completely done. I told Jason, like, I just kind of want to like figure out the right, like, I have some guys in mind for those things, like the 1 hours be one of those like guys like, I'm starting to do training and stuff for Surefire. So maybe one of my own students or something for Surefire for the 1 hour, just kind of, give them that rub and push. But as far as dog collar, like I want something really good behind it and stuff. But it just was I'm like, as much as I take some pride, like I've been able to manage to get under the rate, and I've been in some crazy matches and I've not had to gig. It's been hard way. I bled. So as much as I take pride in that, I'm like, but I've also never done a dog collar match. How's that never come across, So I got to get that one in it for sure before I'm like completely done. But I'm not doing consistently right now. It's rough on my body. My body, I guess, just hit sooner than everybody else's I've come up with.
I think it's when you, or at least with me, once I stopped moving around a whole bunch was when everything caught up. I think as long as if you keep going and you never like have a break, I think you're good until like the moment when you're like, I'm gonna take off 2 or 3 months, and then everything I feel kind of will hit you, and it catches up like, oh fuck, okay.
Yeah, that's it, and that might have been it. Yeah, just taking so much time off. I don't think maybe I'm able to build that callus up. I guess maybe if I kept going, but then there's the finance part of it too. Like it's just it's not that starting a promotion and running it was the smartest like thing on that end of it. but nonetheless, I'm not hurting afterwards per se. I'm tired, but I can deal with tired. I can deal with that. But yeah, it's just, I think, COVID obviously made us all have to rest. And I think that was it. But I also think that gave me the realization of like, when I finally realized, like, after about 6 months into that, I was like, it almost took like 6 months before I kind of missed just performing. But I think for me, I'm at that point where it's like I like being off, but I do end up missing it. So I just like when I kind of get that itch, then I'll do a match. You know, that's kind of where I'm at because I'll watch matches like, you know, I watched Quiz wrestle. It was a couple of months back at DOA. It was one me and Jason were, and the story and stuff. I mean, it was a banger there. I'll see stuff like that or the matches with like a lot of DOA matches, but I'll see Prestige knock out some stuff, Defy knock out stuff. So what I'm seeing, especially when I'm seeing guys that I've trained with and have worked a million times and they're having bangers, let alone just WWE and AEW stuff, but especially guys that I'm like, okay, I know I can have this match because I've done it with them and I know who they are and I have good chemistry. That's when I start like getting that itch. I'm like, I could do that. So there's part of me too where I'm like, I need to get myself in a little bit because one of the things I would like to knock off the list is a Defier Prestige. Just that environment there is so cool. You know, so to have something like that, you know, would be cool.
Yeah.
But
Got to go back
yeah.
up to the West Coast or the Northwest up there, and I guess now
Mhm.
that they both kind of run in Portland, so I guess you could do them in Portland. I think they both run in Portland, right? Am I?
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Prestige does Roseland and then Defy does what's the other theater? Hawthorne? Is that one it? I believe.
Okay.
There's a Hawthorne theater.
Yeah, Defy will do that a little, but you know, Prestige does it more often. That's their like WrestleMania is the Roseland. You know, they just had Roseland 7, so
Yeah, yeah, but man, the Roseland's a fucking wild place, man. Like going back
it
to
is. Yeah,
all those shows that we went to at the Roseland, like that they're doing wrestling there now is pretty cool. That's I like that
yeah.
and so I mean, what the last time you wrestled in Portland was that for? You did one DOA, didn't you? Come back and do a DOA at some point at
I
Waddles.
yeah, I did the 10th. No, actually, I think my last one was at um the Comedy Club.
Oh,
It
at
was for
Harvey's.
DOA's 10th anniversary. Yeah, I wrestled Sonico. Yeah,
Okay.
so.
What?
Sorry,
Quiz just
I
laughs because of
just
the story
remembered the
behind
finish
it. I
line.
mean, this is wrestling.
What's that
So,
story?
and actually, Quiz is a big part of this too, in a sense. Like, so this is funny. This is wrestling right here. So anybody listening kind of can get an idea how, you know, you can take certain things, you know, like real life can be turned into a story in essence, right? So, uh, the pencil, you know, decided he would run with this and do some stuff.
Oh,
So I don't
I
know
remember.
if it's ever been talked about, but yeah, TCW Tulalip, what was it, Tulalip or whatever championship wrestling, you know, by
Layla
us. What do we call him?
Championship
CM,
Wrestling.
yeah, CM Crunk or AKA Caden Matthews. Or as I like to call him, the $2 promoter, just because he decided to rib me by putting a $2 bill in every PO. Uh, so we did a show that time, and that was me and Quiz had. I think you rode with me, is what it was. So Quiz rode with me, and we went up there and did a show. And boy, this just puts age on you. And at that time, Sonico and his brother were fans. They were, man, we've reached the point of like, we used to watch you when we were younger, kind of thing. Man, that's
Yeah.
just, I've heard that so many times, but doing the DOA 10 anniversary really is like, was the starting point of that. Because so when we were doing the Tulalip Championship Wrestling stuff and this night, like, uh, they were there with, uh, I don't think his mom was there, but anyway, they were there, and somehow it came up. Me and Quiz needed somewhere to like. We just didn't feel like driving all the way back home because I think it was
Oh,
raining, and I hated driving in the rain that
wait,
far.
wait, hold on, real quick. All right, so a little bit skewed. It was actually CJ that was with you.
That's right. Okay, it was CJ. I was thinking it was you. No, you're right. It was CJ.
You got
Okay,
lost.
so CJ was with me. Yeah, CJ was with me, but I didn't feel like driving back, and somehow the conversation came up where I was talking with Sonica's mom and I think his little brother and stuff was there. He was and him and stuff like that. And anyway, it came down to me and CJ ended up staying at their house for the night. And me and CJ, it literally was just a place to sleep. And of course, at that time, you know, and I'm saying this in a nice way because there's a follow up, but I think it was, you had a couple, Sonico and stuff. They were some marks, and so here's some wrestlers staying. Now I say that because I'm a huge mark now for Sonico. I mean, the guy is phenomenal. He's so good. And we just stayed there. There was a bedroom they let me and CJ stayed. I think we all chatted in the front room for maybe 10 minutes. We ate some food, and they're great host. And me and CJ just slept until the morning. We got up and we hit the road. Well, it's wrestling, so naturally things get stirred up, and a lot of times just somebody just gets a little thought and a thought, and wrestling. So in a thoughts turn into rumors, and things happen, and it was just this running gag and stuff. And I'm somebody who I'm like, I'm not going to confirm nor deny. Screw it, let it go, whatever. If it turns into some big thing, then we go whatever. So it's always just been on the low, just kind of there. It never really was a huge thing. But then enter Derek Drexel, who's always got to take stuff to a new level, And so that just kind of spawned into this 10 years in the making between me and Sonico, and that was the buildup to DOA 10. And it was just did Nate or did he not? And so there was actually this buildup, and of course Sonico's like, no, well, he's pissed because of the thought of it. So that was the buildup. And to me, I thought it was pretty impressive that we could all pull it off to actually build some kind of interest there, given me and him, when we didn't have these videos to show of us beating each other up, nothing, just a subtle little story there that, because it was true, built enough interest there, and it worked. And we had the match, and he went over, and then there was a little promo there, and it was great, so that was fun. So that's that.
Was his mom at the show?
DOA 10?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I mean, that would have been cool, right? That would have been really cool. But no, I don't think so. So, and yeah, it was cool just to be the heat and stuff was good. That was so much fun.
That's the origin story. Like Sonico didn't want to get into the business because he's been a lifelong fan and he's always loved it. No, he has been building up. He has been on some Kill Bill style revenge ever since.
That was kind of this. Yeah, that was kind of the other thing behind it too. Is this Sonico became a wrestler just to get back to me kind of thing, building up to that. And so that was pretty fun to be able to that's wrestling. That's the part of wrestling that I love, is when you can just something that, just a night where it was legit, just where you just needed somewhere to stay. It happened, whatever. And then umpteen years later, you can build this story around it and actually build to have something behind a match that you otherwise would have just been a one-off. And that's what I love about wrestling. It's so cool.
So do you have other places you've stayed recently where there have been other kids who have been in the crowd and you're like, hey, you better start training because me and your mom
me and you are going at it in 10 years.
10 years when you get a little bit older. Just wait. Look what I do with this guy back in Oregon. I'm coming for your mom.
Actually,
oh
see
man,
something in you.
I don't know because of that. Yeah, that's the thing now. As soon as I see something in a kid, guess what? Hi, mom.
Where's your mom?
You call me wrestling stepfather.
Let's really bring it out in you. Let's.
Yeah.
Oh no, let's not get going there. Oh my goodness. Well, hey, I guess at that point, given my age, that might be easy enough to pull off, right?
Because I mean, you think
That's
about
funny.
it. Because I mean, now like a lot of I mean, you could have kids that are coming up now that could be your kid, um, like your first shows and stuff. Like
That's
they could,
oh Lordy, Rusty. Oh my gosh.
I'm
Here
going
we
for the
go.
for the jugular here tonight, like or today. Just like okay, yeah, your kids, those, yeah. I mean,
I mean, it's wrestling, so you never know. And the funny, well, yeah, let's not even go there because you never know, right? So,
you never, yeah, you never
yeah,
know who's
I
kid.
mean,
All of a sudden, like, oh
I
yeah,
mean, because there's always an underlining. Like, I may have actually went out there. I don't know, but yeah. So here we go. You know,
yeah, could be, yeah. All of a
I
sudden,
just it. I'm just laughing because it's wrestling, so there's always that option and possibility, right?
there's a lot of possibilities in wrestling. A lot of like, oh, okay, well, it would never happen, but then it's like, well, well, I don't know if that's true. I think if there's a chance,
Yeah,
there's a
yeah,
chance.
yeah. I mean, if never say never has ever been true, it could never be truer than in pro wrestling. You know,
Right, right. Like, yeah, it's the other retirement of pro wrestling. And yeah, you guys, you're on Legends contracts, as this one guy said. He was telling, he was like,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
not retired. You're just on a Legends
Legends
contract.
contract.
I'm like,
I just
yeah, with every
An,
every promotion, just got that Legends contract.
an indie Legends contract.
That's gonna be the thing to carry around now. That's the new
Yeah, let's call
trophy.
it that.
Yeah, I got my indie
Indie-
Legends
Yeah,
contract.
just a
That's cool.
just a, a clipboard that says Legends contract with some papers. Just carrying that around.
As it's the new
That's
money in the
funny.
bank, man. Just ready to go. Like, oh, okay.
Oh, all right. See, the next show I decide to do, I am totally going to get a print out piece of paper with just an indie Legends contract. And just on the back of it, it's just a list of names.
I was just saying.
It's just going to be on the back the list of names of wrestlers and whose kids they may be to the people who are still wrestling.
So have you guys ever come across somebody
That's
who
good.
looks like they
That's
could be
good.
someone's kid? Or like someone that's come up in wrestling who's or like this, like, oh, that kind of looks like
I'm
that might be some.
not as far as like somebody we know, another wrestler we know, or just because I've seen some where I'm like, man, that could be totally Blanchard's son. I've seen that, or like, man, that guy kind of looks like Arn Anderson. That could be. But as far as like, if I see somebody and I'm like, man, that could be Wade Hess's kid. I don't. Well, I don't know. Maybe.
Mm.
ah, zing. There's a win. That's a double dose in one. Man, there's so many names I could throw out to get there, but I figured, I I haven't yet.
You did you said that you didn't say that. No, tell me.
Oh man, I did. Sweet revenge. I'm just throwing a name out there, but anyway, what can I say? I could have said anybody, but since I probably would have said Quiz, but he's right here, so I figured I'd throw somebody else to get a reaction at a Quiz. So
Oh, you would know if one of them wrestlers for my kids. There'd be no mistake, and everybody be looking at me like, "What? I tried to get him not to get into the
yeah,
business."
yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, if we would have, if it was like, oh, that looks like that could be Quiz's kid. Let's see. Hey, do you want to do this match? Yeah, sure. And so when you see him or her like start taking all these wild bumps and trying to outdo everybody, you're like, yep, that's Quiz's. Which is probably why I feel the way I do, because yeah, me and Quiz like constantly try to outdo each other when it came to stuff. That's why like people can say like there's no competition in wrestling. That's bull. There's competition. And me and Quiz are a testament to that big time. So, but it also meant that's why we had so much good chemistry too, because it was just like while keeping each other safe, it was like almost trying to outperform each other, you know. And I remember the 72-hour thing. Me and him, he beat me by like 2, but me and him were number 1 and 2 for the most matches. And it ended up being because I realized Jason had mentioned something about him having like he was up to like 20 matches or something like that, and I'd only had 15. And I was like, I was like, well, that can't happen. And so then it was just like, I totally politicked and got myself like 4 matches in a row to catch up to him. So he's like, but he ended up staying like anywhere from 1 to 3 matches ahead of me at that point. And so, but we both ended up with like 70 something matches by the end of it. It was crazy. I think he had like 76 and I was at like 72 or 3 or something like that. It was crazy. But that was the competition, was just me and him going, we were competing to see who could have the most matches. And then it was like he upped the challenge because he's like, not only the most matches, but we're going to add in like last man standing matches and other matches too. So by the time we're like in the 72-hour period, we're in like 60 matches. So we're worn out, tired. He's still like, but let's still do this. So that's why I always say Quiz is better than me, because I would have given up the towel. I would have thrown in the towel on doing big matches. I would have just started in some singles matches for like 10 minutes to get those X. But he's like, nah, let's dive off the balcony at 60 hours in, match number 70
At 3 a.m. in front of 4 people.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
just say I would have had more matches if I didn't scorpion myself on taking a draping DDT from the apron to the floor on a chair. And I believe the person who was giving
I do remember that.
Nate Andrews, and
that's how you win.
feet hit the back of my head,
which was,
and I'm like, oh, my back hurts.
Which was unintentional.
Mm.
It was, I mean, obviously it's hard for people to probably want to believe that given what I just said, but it's true. It wasn't on purpose.
No. And
the DDT was, but
yeah. I was actually forced not to do any more matches. They're like, look, you ain't got nothing else left to prove. I'm like, we were proving something? I'm just doing it because I'm stupid.
And then,
yeah.
So then the locker room was right above the entranceway at that place, right? So that's what
it was. So when I first started there, which is funny because we talked about CJ. So my first time there, which this don't happen often, but I was running late. Okay. I got Quiz again. All right. So needless to say, if you know me, then we'll just move along. But I was running late, and I mean, this is a testament to, this is something that can be is lost now, because I'm sure Quiz can agree with me here. I'll throw money at this, that try anybody else nowadays to try to pull this off. But then there was a locker room that was upstairs. I believe the heels were upstairs, and then the babies were downstairs. And because there was like a attic storage place up there. And I was running late, and I didn't have time to go over a match with CJ. And I think his name was Shinobi. He was just in training. I mean, so much so that a match I called for a small package, and he said, "What's that?" And I just said, tuck your legs in between. I said, tuck your leg in between mine and roll backwards. He put both legs in between them, and he cinched it. And then I just called the finish spot right after that. But we ended up working and doing fine kind of up to that point. But I'd say throw money out there and let's see if anybody else could do that. Run late, even, let alone not even run late, but just not getting able to talk. You're in 2 separate locker rooms. The first time you even see the guy is when he comes out for the entrance. Because I was the heel, so I came out first, and then I'd never even seen him, never met him, never heard his voice, nothing. I mean, you couldn't be more from scratch there. Excuse me, and it worked. Like, let's see how he can do that these days. I'm not trying to. It's not a bragging point as much as it is a kind of a disappointment point these days. You know what I mean? But during the 72-hour thing, everybody was downstairs, and they tried to make it a sleeping quarters was the upstairs. So when you were kind of, because Jason did it in like shifts. So when you weren't in a shift, you could go upstairs and sleep. Some could. I think I ended up, when it was my turn to sleep, I think I would sleep maybe 30 minutes, and then I'd lay there for another hour and just kind of doze off and on. And then I was just like, screw it, I'll just go down and just fill in, you know. So that was that building. So yeah.
So was there somebody else who had a when someone called for a small package, someone else said something, or do you guys have a story about that, or is that something that I'm maybe not? Okay. I remember hearing a story of someone
I
calling for a
mean,
small
it.
package, and I guess not.
I mean,
Um,
that's no. I've never. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know what you're trying to say, Rusty, but that's not me. I mean, quiz is probably is going to be better at me than that. But anyway, I've never, yeah. Other than that predicament with CJ, I've never had an issue with a small package.
so what happened in that match with CJ then? What do you do? I mean, when you if he or Shinobi, I guess he would be Shinobi.
Yeah.
He fucking would be Shinobi.
Well,
That's very CJ.
yeah. Well, I think his name was it was something else, but that's what I had called him, like in the match, because I'm pretty sure I did a promo or something like that, and it was the typical like not calling him the right name, and like Shinobi was, I believe, like wasn't that like a game or something like that? I think
Sega Genesis. Shinobi,
and so
yeah.
I think
Yes.
Right, yeah. So I think his name was, I think it had a K. It was very similar, and he had like the braided. So he had braids, but it was the braids where they're like, it wasn't even like, it was just, it was very CJ. And like he had gear, but it wasn't like, it was just kind of like, I'm pretty sure he had something that was like ninja-esque in there, because he's got the martial arts aspect. So of course, starting, that's what they kind of went with, and so I was just like Shinobi. I called him Shinobi in the promo, and we it just went from there. So, but it was a testament to how good he was too, because it wasn't like a cluster by any means. It was just he was super green, even more than I was, because I was only 5 years in. We were only 5 years in at that point. Maybe even it might have even been sooner than that. But
that was
maybe
like
about three or something like that.
Maybe
yeah.
Like 3 or something, because like this was before DOA got started, or DOA was even birthed.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, I mean, we were only maybe 3-4 years in at that point. So not like I was much better than he was at that point, but I did know what a small package was and how to do it. So, but that, I mean, if that's the only thing I remember from it, then it obviously couldn't have been that bad.
So if he stuck both of his legs in it, how'd that work? Did he just like fall back flat, or like?
Yeah, so he kind of like he stuck them both in, and then like just basically both legs were on one leg, and it was like a sideways looking thing. And so naturally, I'm like, even if that's the finish, I would have kicked out, because I'm like, clearly you're not even like, it's not cinched in, but just the way he did it, like both legs were wrapped around one leg, and obviously because of that, like he's kind of like laying this way and I'm this way. We're like, between us, we created this like V, and it's just like, so it was like 1.5 and I kicked out, like, but, and then we just went right into the finish from there. So
I mean,
yeah, it was a good time. Good times.
how often are there kickouts before too? Or I mean, because that seems like that's not really, doesn't happen very often, unless it's like someone does a bunch of finishers and then kick out at one. But they're usually, most kickouts are at 2 and just almost 3. I mean, yeah, I don't know. There hasn't been too many times where it's been like, okay, let's kick out at 1. And
Well, I've actually done that recently, because it why wouldn't you? It made sense to. So you tell that story of a match, like you're supposed to beat down your opponent, and it was one of those like, I mentioned it to uh I always say this kid I was wrestling, but I mean he's been in it 10 years, so but I had mentioned, I'm like, hey, let's do it, I'll kick out at one, you kick out at one. You could tell that, like, what? Because right now it's over their brain, like it's that spot where, like, at towards the finish or something, guy, heel hits his big finisher, and then the baby face kicks out. That's what they're used to at one. So when I'm explaining to do that, even in the first like couple pinfalls, he's got that perplex. I'm like, but why not? Wouldn't it tell more of a story of if we're kicking out at one, but then now when you do stuff, I'm only kicking out at two. Doesn't that show progression of being beat down? So that, and it worked out. It was hit me with something, one kick out, and then one kick out. But now as we kind of 5-6 minutes in, it's 1-2 kick out, and it shows that you're showing that progression. And then of course now it's 1-2 last second kick out, because you're just trying to, whether you're saving it, the typical, you're trying to get as much as you can, or you're just you're not coherent enough until that last second kind of thing. But other than that, you just don't see it very often. But that worked, and I mean, why not? Like, there's a story that can be told with kicking out at one. So
yeah, progression is key, like in my book. And honestly, I look at stuff like today because I kind of look at the trends of what's currently going on in wrestling, and I'll do the exact opposite kind of thing. Because what do you try to do to set yourself apart from everybody? Like, do what people are not doing. And so, hey, if you want to tell a different type of story, just say, hey, I got to be worn down. So why would you try to kick out at one in the beginning where you got the most energy?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, it's and then that way you're always not trying to be next best to what someone else is doing. You already have that. I'm gonna just be fucking the best at doing this part over here, rather than doing like, okay, hey, it's like this is just like so and so on TV.
Like I don't know, I don't know about y'all, but like I've been dropped on my head before. I didn't immediately want to kick out at one.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Kicking out at one, that's being dropped on your head.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess
Or
some countries say
plastic,
about that.
or actually, yeah. Which, or yeah. Sometimes wrestling. I mean, there's a part of me that I'm just like, I'm so glad I was last generation.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, it's just.
yeah. So, um, I think I've talked with Quiz about this one. Have you gotten to talk with Ed at all? With
I
Kerner?
haven't. I've actually thought about it. I just thought about him the other day because I think I came across a picture. But nah, I mean, shoot, I think that I saw him outside of trading before. So let's see, there was a time he came into NAWA or NWA. That was the time when I was kind of booking it. So like it worked. And I mean, super, like, you're one of my students discount kind of pricing, so it was like sweet. And it was gonna be like a 2-show thing where he was an authority figure thing, but it only lasted one. Once he found out who the promoter was, he was like, yeah, I'm not, if I would have known this, I wouldn't have done it. And I was like, oh, my bad, I didn't know that you had something going on. I wasn't surprised. But anyway, moving forward, because that could be a whole nother couple hours of a podcast alone, right, Quiz? So
Who's booking it? Oh, fuck no, kid. No.
since yeah, so, and I was booking at the time, but it was the promoter that he obviously was like, so he but I think I'm like a couple years later I had seen him somewhere and talked to him for a little bit. But since then, so it's probably been what, 15 years since I've talked to Ed. something like that. I haven't seen him, so I mean, it'd be cool to see him. And I know he's been like, I guess if I want to catch him, it'd have to be at Collie Alley. What is it? The CAC.
Yeah.
I can never say that, like, unless I stop and man. But the CAC, and then you can't say the CAC, but
Yeah,
you
I was
know,
about to
but
say
how
it.
fitting for wrestling that is.
You got to see him at the catch.
So yeah, so yeah, that was the last time I saw him or talked to him. So it's been a long time. I'd like to though, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you fucking you write him a letter or something, or yeah, you see him at the CAC, write him a postcard or something, because
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't. Well, I mean, let's face facts. Even with us being as students, like it wasn't like we all just built this like best friend relationship with him, and,
Yeah.
and like if we wrote him a letter, it would. I highly doubt he would read it. I mean, he might, but at the end of the day, that doesn't mean that I mean, man, I learned so much from him. It's just cool. Now, I talk to I have probably more interaction with Grappler and stuff because for me it was Buddy, Ed, and Grap. Especially in my WCWC days. I do school and stuff, and he'd be in there too. So, excuse me. And then of course, as Quiz can attest, Grappler popped in at our school every so often too. So, now Grap I talk to every so often, and he'll actually be kind of on the podcast me and Jason are going to be doing. But I'm looking forward to talking to him more and stuff. So I talk to him more than probably Colonel, but I learned so much from Colonel. Tag team psychology is, if you look back at my career, I've been in more often than not, I've been in a faction or tag team, and I've probably had more. I mean, I've obviously probably had more singles than I have tags, but I've had a lot of tag team matches, and it's just that psychology, even though it's quote unquote harder, it resonated with me the most. And I think it's just because I'm a creative kind of person, and tag team wrestling was so easy. Like it's just so much, there's so much more I could think creativity, and I could have a different tag match every match and just building up stories and things like that. So, but I learned, Ed taught so much on tag psychology, and it just clicked for me.
and I mean, why not, man? Like, yeah, and I mean, how many tag teams was he in, and how many different tag partners did he have? So I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, I got the light fucking one of those things. So then you and Jason are starting a podcast. Okay,
Yes, sir.
That's news. All right.
Yeah. It's actually been in the works for a while. We're actually going to be starting that here pretty soon. We were working on it before we left Paraguay. We did a thing. David Sherman's going to produce it for us. Such a great guy. He's actually helped me produce Surefire Wrestling. So,
Awesome.
some episodes we're breaking down. We're breaking down our show that we just did on the 6th into episodes. He's going to be putting that out on our YouTube channel here soon. But he's going to do the podcast, and it's To Book or Not to Book, is what it's going to be called. And I just had this idea to do. I was just going to kind of do my own thing, but I was like, Sullivan's going to be the best. And like, he was on board. And then he mentioned like, let's see if Sherman wants to do it too. And so then it went just from me, just kind of like talking just in general, like just, it doesn't have to be the best professional thing. I just something out there to just like, no, let's make this legit. And my idea was just, it's going to be like, we'll have wrestlers on there, but only if they've ever owned a promotion or like promoted or they've booked. So we're just talking to promoters or bookers, and maybe not even necessarily wrestling. It might even be just, even if it's MMA or boxing, obviously, but it's more of from the booking standpoint. Like we'll talk, even current people were like, what are things that, you look for in booking, or what are things you've come across? And it's going to be more positive. Like you can tell a story, even if it's a negative story, but let's not name names, is where we're going with it. Like, you know, you can this one guy, you know, if it, you know, if people make it, you know, they realize like they know the story is one thing, but us personally, like we're not going to just bury anybody. We're not going to, it's just going to be but it's one of those where we feel like guys or gals that are in the business, maybe if we're talking to a current promoter, well, now they know what that promoter's looking for in booking, or they, you know, this promoter told a negative story where, you know, this happened, and they're just to make them think. And we haven't really seen anything like that. So that was my thought, was like, especially in this day and age. So we feel like we can talk to some of the past promoters, current promoters, and that's what we're going to start doing. And Grap will be our episode 1, is what we're looking to do. It may not be recorded in that order, but Grap's going to be our number 1. We figure, why not just start with that, and he'll be able to be in-house studio. So I'm actually working on that coming up. Okay. So me and him will be in studio, and then Sully will be doing it from Paraguay. So that's what we're going to be doing, and it's just going to be, we're going to shoot for about an hour, but we're like, is anywhere from an hour to hour and a half will be our episodes, you know. And we're going to record longer, but then we'll do parts, you know, part 1, part 2. But it's just really going to be like just me feeding questions to Grappler, and obviously it's going to be mostly probably him talking. But I mean, what kind of knowledge, you know, from there. And then you know, Matt Farmer from Defy is on board to do it too. So you kind of go from one extreme to the other, because you go from Grappler, who just, I mean, the mind that he has and stuff of old school, but then you go with that same thing where like Farmer is still old school, but he's currently promoting one of the top, I mean, obviously one of the top Pacific Northwest promotions, but also a world promotion at this point. So, you know, you get that. So just, I think the current generation to wrestlers and workers to be able to hear bookers and stuff say what they like, don't like, etc., is something valuable, and that's what I want to do. So yeah, to book or not to book, keep an eye on that. Yeah.
All right. Well, then where the fuck can people find you to, besides in a back alley somewhere, with a gun or something? Hopefully not there, but where can they find you?
Let's see. Facebook is Nate Andrews 84. Nate Andrews 84 on Twitter. Nate Andrews 22 on Instagram, which I'm not savvy on Instagram as much. I don't post a whole lot on that. And then of course Surefire. You can do Surefire Live on Instagram and Twitter. Surefire Wrestling on Facebook and YouTube.
What about you, Chris?
You can find me later on at the Willowbrook Mall, swimming through this thunderstorm. But yeah, let's see. If you're on Vero, you can check out my art on Vero Dang HBQ. You actually have my real name, Chris Thomas. Instagram, I might be on there like every other month for about 30 seconds, just posting one thing, and then I'm out for a while. You can probably find Twitter at Dang HBQ, and look up some old tweets, because I don't think I've been on that since the DOA anniversary show last year.
Yeah, you know, I hope that's something that gets better here with one of the things with AI is that, like, social media stuff can just kind of get taken care of by that, and then we can all just kind of
man, that'd be great.
Yeah,
give it some keywords and let it do stuff for you. I mean, that would be kind of nice in itself. Yeah, for sure. I don't know how some people do that, man. I mean, they're posting Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, then they have whatever else, and they're able to just I don't know how they. I mean, shoot, like I have like a 10-hour job I'm at. Now I'm trying to run a promotion too, and like my personal one goes aside, because obviously I'm trying to build the promotion brand. So that's the one I'm trying to like trying to constantly do my own and the promotion. And then now you add the to book or not to book. Like I'm like, hopefully the money comes in so I can just pay, like actually have a social media manager.
Yeah.
You know,
I think that's important.
I just don't know how some people do it. Like,
and then they're going to other accounts and, like, you know, sharing their or commenting on their stuff, and like, I don't know how they have time to do all this stuff, and great for them. So
I
if you're a
don't either.
social media manager and maybe you wanna work for Nate or for Quiz for free, and you're just like, I just want to do it just because,
Yeah.
hit them up.
Well,
Hit-
I mean, I won't do. I'll pay, but I mean, if you're at least willing to do it for like 20 or 30 bucks a month or something, I would do something like that.
yeah, right.
I'm
But
not
something
paying
tells me
you.
if you're social media,
Yeah,
if you're
I'm
a
not paying
social
you a
media
goddamn thing.
frenzy,
yeah.
you know. So I don't
Yep.
know. Yeah, it's
Well,
crazy
shit.
time we're in, man.
Yeah. Well, fuck. We'll get you guys back on here. I know. Yeah, Quiz will be back in a couple days. And then yeah, Nate, we'll get you back sometime soon here, and yeah, we'll do some more, and yeah, we'll see you guys around. Not in the back alley,
Awesome.
but somewhere. So
Yeah, let's hope not.
yeah. All right. Well, cool. You guys take
Yeah,
it
I'm
easy.
yeah, I'm
Oh, go ahead. What?
I would say I'm too white to be in a back alley. So
Right. You can be in a front alley.
yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
If you
So,
find
You be in the back alley. They got the Backstreet Boys. That's what they were called, right?
yeah.
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that'll work.
Yeah, well, too sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, cool. You guys have a good day. All right. Cool. Well, that's Nate and that's Quiz. So Quiz will be back here on Wednesday. We got Dr. Cleaver coming in. So it'll be another show like this. I'll probably have more of them on. I need to have more wrestlers on. I haven't talked to them enough, and there's a lot. There's a lot, but I'll probably have the same ones come back on because um I rather have on my friends than have on a bunch of people I don't know. So that's why I have them two on. So yeah, they might not claim me as a friend, but they're my friends. So you guys, thank you for listening here on the Rusty Diamond Podcast Network. This is the Public Access Podcast, and that is the show. Man, boom!
It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker. It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.